on the Texas A&M Sports Network. From Learfield, this is the Gary Blair Radio Show, presented by Bud Light. It's for the fans. And by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit Rudy's.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. Now, this is the Gary Blair Radio Show.
And we are excited to be back here at Rudy's on Harvey Road, Rudy's barbecue location. What a tremendous crowd out here tonight. And everybody's been waiting more than a year to get back and see the Gary Blair Radio Show in person. And Gary, congratulations on a 7-0 start. Tremendous, tremendous effort.
Well, the most important thing, I've been waiting for Rudy's barbecue. I cannot wait for my baked potato after the show with the chopped brisket and the sausage on it. So I've been waiting for a while. But it's good to be here. It was a great tournament win. It was great for our boosters and our parents that win. It was a trip of a lifetime. And, folks, if you can afford it, it's a bucket list to get over there because that is one of the most beautiful places in the world between that and St. John's and all the little islands over there.
Now the Aggies just back literally 14 hours ago from the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas. I know that I believe I got to my house about 4 a.m. this morning. That was just a 14-hour head start to tonight's program. The Aggies win 3 games in 3 days. They beat Pitt 57-46, beat South Dakota 58-44, and beat Northwestern 77-68. 7-0, second straight year to be 7-0. And what is special about playing in the Virgin Islands this time of year?
Well, like I said, it's a trip of a lifetime. None of our kids have ever been over there before. For y'all, Aaliyah Boston from South Carolina is from St. Thomas. And her mother, dad, and her grandmother were all there. We got a chance to meet them. So the island's been special. I've been over there 4 times, 3 times with Texas A&M, and I think 1 time at Arkansas. But you just feel good. You wake up in the morning, you see the palm trees, the water, and everything like that. You just feel good. But it was a business trip for us also. We went over there to win 3 ball games and to get better, and I think that's what we did.
Why is it important to play 3 games in 3 days? You don't do that any other time of the year except in the SEC tournament.
First, give your kids a chance to get some playing time, look at different combinations. The problem was this year there was no gimme games. Everything was tough. And Pittsburgh, who was supposed to be the gimme game, that was not a gimme game. They were very physical, athletic, fast. They gave us a lot of problems. South Dakota is an NCAA team every year. They're just solid. And then you play Northwestern, one of the best matchup zone teams in the country, and you learn from each experience. You'd love to sit there and be able to play 5 quarters, to be able to get all your kids a lot of minutes and everything like that. But that's not what we do. We have to play to win. Sometimes all the minutes cannot be given out. They've got to be earned during practice, but normally we had about a 9 to 10 player rotation, and I thought our kids did very well. We always had 9 or 10 in double-figure minutes played.
That means there were people taking advantage of their opportunities. Who stands out for taking advantage of opportunities given?
Oh, gosh. You look on the first night, Malia Johnson. She just dominated the boards when we were actually being out-athletic. And we were just not competing as well, and we put her in there to take care of the boards, and she threw in 8 points and just gave us new energy. Every night there's a different person, and all of a sudden the second night we got into foul trouble against South Dakota. Jordan got 2 fouls early. We had to start reaching to the bench, and that's where we need to do better. Jordan's not a 40-minute player. She plays so doggone hard, and she takes chances sometimes because she's always taking charges, and we need to have very good backup point guards to be able to put us into the offense that it's going to take to win. That's what we're going to work on tomorrow in practice, because we're going to be playing McKenzie and KK a lot in there, and they need to take up minutes, so sometimes we can put Jordan down at the 2-guard position. But in that ball game, Q's defense in the second half, when we went on a 24-0 run, it was just, she was all over the court, tapping balls, getting loose, and they gave us some easy baskets, and that's when we went on a 24-0 run. I cannot remember that ever happening against a quality team. And they scored the first basket of the second quarter, and we scored the next 24. But it all starts with defense first, rebounding, and then taking high percentage shots, which we were doing.
I mean, for a team to come out and respond like that, what did you guys talk about at halftime to get that out of your team?
Well, some of y'all, I grew up Baptist. I had a little revival. So we had a little bit of a revival at halftime, and it wasn't any X's and O's put on the board. We just wanted to know how we were going to compete at the level. And then our kids took it upon themselves. They had a little captains-only meeting right at the tail end of halftime. Captains took over. Coaches just watched the process, and we played extremely well and did it to a quality opponent. That was the most important thing.
And to one of your really, really good friends. You got a lot of friends, but Joe McEwen, the coach at Northwestern, a really good friend. And it had been 4 decades since you had beaten him.
Well, I beat him at Stephen F. Austin when he was at New Mexico State. I lost to him 2 times when he was at George Washington. Then I lost to him 2 times at A&M. One in the NCAA tournament in Los Angeles that would have allowed us to go back and play in my hometown, Dallas. And we lost that game, and that one really stung. But Joe's just a very good coach. And I got my confidence this summer when I shot my age and won $15 from him this summer on the golf course. That gave me my confidence that, hey, I might be able to pull it off this year, because usually he beats me in golf too.
Well, you did wait till the very end. That was the last, maybe the last opportunity, so you got that out of the way finally.
Well, we did, and so Joe, I ended my career 2-4 against him. I'd love to play him one more time in the NCAA tournament, and that's where both of us are going to land.
Yeah, that would be great. So who do we have coming up on the show tonight?
We've got Jordan Nixon, and we've got Qadashah Hoppie from New York. So I've got 2 New York kids coming in that speak a lot better English than I do, and they speak a lot faster than I do. And so write your questions down if y'all have got any questions for her, but it's going to be a very entertaining hour, because with both of those 2 coming in, we decided not to bring an assistant coach, because they're going to take up all the time, because everybody wants to know about New York City and how they're playing well together.
And coming up, we'll talk about some of the fun activities you guys did over in St. Thomas, and kind of a summary on how the season has been going so far. He's Gary Blair. I'm Steve Miller. We're live at Rudy's Barbecue. It's the Gary Blair Radio Show from Learfield. Basketball and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right woods. Rudy smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. We're back on the Gary Blair Radio Show. We're at Rudy's on Harvey Road in College Station with Coach Gary Blair. I'm Steve Miller. Great to have you out here for our debut show for this season. It's our first time to get together back live here at Rudy's, and we will be here over the course of 12 weeks. We'll have a little break during the holiday, and then we will finish up strong the remainder of the season, and right now even scheduled to be back the week after the Southeastern Conference Tournament, which this year is in Nashville. So that's going to be an exciting time. The Aggies are up 6 spots in the AP poll, top 25 this week, to number 17. The top 5 are South Carolina, NC State, UConn, Stanford, and Baylor. In the SEC, Tennessee is number 11, Kentucky is 16, Georgia is number 20. And some of our non-conference opponents that we've got to keep an eye on. Texas is number 15, and DePaul and Arkansas are receiving votes. Arkansas, one of our SEC opponents, but other opponents on our schedule. But more importantly, the Aggies are 7-0 and just back from the U.S. Virgin Islands. And Gary, what time did you get back?
I went to sleep at 4:30, but somehow I got up at about 8 o'clock. I was hoping it was about 10 o'clock. I went in and brushed my teeth, came back, fell asleep for about 1 more hour. Then it was time to get up and study the newspaper, study the stat sheet, and get ready to go to work.
What was the, you guys left for Virgin Islands, I guess it was last Monday night before we left really, really early on Tuesday morning. When you take a trip like that, what are your objectives? Playing the 3 games and having great games are obviously winning is important, but deep down, what is it you try to accomplish when doing these holiday tournaments?
Getting the kids to know each other for an extended period. This is our first road trip of the year. And who's going to be your roommate? Who are you going to do things with off? Are you going to go to the beach? Are you going to go to the swimming pool? You're going to hike the island? I want to do all of that. I want the kids to have fun while we teach the game of fundamentals and hopefully play the best basketball we can. We played some very good basketball over there. And I think we played better in different halves than we did against DePaul and Stephen F. because we're learning each other. We're learning where the kids want the ball. Who can we depend on setting the screen? What range do we have out of our shooters? And right now, a lot of them have got about, we're supposed to be shooting from 22. They got about 25 to 26 foot range, a lot of our shooters. So, but we're still developing our post game. I think that's important. And people said, why has your lineup changed? All 7 opponents that we've played have been 4 guard teams. 4 guards, single post. And so we've had to match up, not offensively scoring against them, but defensively. Can you guard a motion offense? Can my post players go out and handle a switch? Sometimes you'll be on a point guard. And so we trusted our guards to run that. Maybe we could have out-rebounded teams a little bit more than we did if I'd played the traditional Indian Sierra in at the 4 and the 5. But we mixed and matched, and we went whoever was hot. And Patty did a very good job in certain things. And then here comes our freshman in from Houston. She's making a few mistakes right now on travels or not seeing the opponent, but she's going to be very good. But I thought Sydney Roby was by far our best post player over there. She is solid. She's shooting 62%. And if y'all could have seen her passing in the second half, it looked like a point guard because they had been stopping us all 3 games over there inside, either Dublin or we would miss the shot or they would score against what I call bank robber defense. That's hands straight to the sky, not shot blockers, but hands to the sky. And we were having trouble. But Roby figured out, well, they're going to stop me this way. I'm going to get some assists. And she had 3 beautiful assists in the second half against Northwestern.
We were looking up her stats, and in her career, she had 7 total in her career. And she handed out 3. And we asked her, how did you, is anybody expecting you to pass? Most post players, last thing they want to do is pass. She's like, no, that's essentially what made it so great.
Well, I think anybody enjoys making the pass that leads to a basket because you feel so good that way. Your energy level goes up, particularly after you've missed a shot or so. And all of a sudden, what can I do to help my team or to stay on the floor? Either rebound, defense, be a great teammate, or take a charge, do the little things that it takes to keep you in the ball game. Our bench is so deep, I'm able to rotate a lot of people in. So a lot of times, they don't want to come out because they're tired, because they're afraid that next person coming in is just as good as they are. And so they might not get back in. And that's happened a couple of times this year.
We talk about learning about your team and them learning about each other. What's the personality of this team developing?
Oh, gosh, they're not shy. They can talk their way through I saw Jordan and Q just come in the door. Jordan was in the row next to me last night, and the little freshman Kesslin was with her. And I was trying to watch game film and stay awake. I had no problem staying awake because Jordan can talk. And, I mean, she was giving our freshmen an education on life, on different perspectives, and the freshman was taking it all in. And that's what older kids are supposed to do. They're supposed to help develop the other young people, get them to see the way of you have to start on the bench. If you're playing for a Connecticut, a Stanford, or anybody like Texas A&M or Texas, you have to start on the bench, earn your way there. And that's all it takes is sometimes for an older kid to give that younger kid a lot of advice. And I thought Jordan was doing very good, and plus it was keeping me awake.
These players have found an affection for yell practice.
Yes.
And during the pregame, when the other game was running long, they're in the back corner holding their own yell practice, but not something I'd seen from our women's basketball team before. And then when you were trying to receive a special honor after winning the championship from the tournament director, Nels Hawkinson, they were having their own yell practice at center court. Well, how did that go?
Well, I think it's been good because we've also been with recruits, and then when we got honored before the Auburn game, we've been to 3 midnight yell practices, and the kids are just into it. They're into what makes A&M special. They're into somebody has to be the yell leader, somebody has to be the teammate, but everybody has to get involved. And that's the genuine, when you do not have the fans full of our fans, and we probably had 30 or 40 over there, but you have to make that energy up yourself. And I think we were the best team over there, and we were the loudest team over there.
Well, we got our energy makers joining us here on the show coming up. We're going to take a break, but when we do come back, Q Hoppie will be joining us, and we are anxious to hear what she's got to say after that trip to the Virgin Islands. And we appreciate everybody being here. We're live at Rudy's Barbecue. It's the Gary Blair Radio Show from Learfield. Join Texas A&M Student Athlete Advisory Council and Frontier in donating toys to children in need this holiday season. Bring your new unwrapped toys to either the Texas A&M men's and women's basketball games at Reed Arena. That's December 14th or the 19th. Visit 12thman.com/toy drive for full details. We're back on the Gary Blair Radio Show at Rudy's Barbecue here on Harvey Road. A great crowd here on hand with Coach Gary Blair. I'm Steve Miller. The Aggies getting set to take on Little Rock. That's going to happen this Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. It's elementary school day. You can listen on the Texas A&M Sports Network locally. That's Zone 1150. Or you can watch on the SEC Network. And then on Sunday, the Aggies face number 15 Texas. That's at 3 o'clock at Reed Arena. It's the SEC Big 12 Showdown. You can listen on the A&M Sports Network locally, 1620 94.5 WTAW, or watch on the SEC Network, but we'd rather have you there in person. And another one we are glad to have in person this season is Q Hoppie. It comes to us from a great career at St. John's, and I believe has a great story on where did the yell practice start from the other night? How did that get going?
So basically, we were waiting for the game before us to end, and we were in the hallway, and this whole time we had been given the last game of the night, so we had to find different ways to get energy, and we love going to the yell practices and even going to the football games and being a part of everything like that. And so one of our teammates, I think it might have been Kenyelle or MJ, just started it, and everybody joined on, and then the fans started seeing us and recording us, and I know everybody else thought we were crazy, but it kind of just brought us closer to each other and just brought the Aggie spirit out there and brought us the energy that we needed to start this game. And so it started then.
Let me backtrack a little. New York City. My gosh, whoever would have thought Texas A&M has got 2 kids from New York City. Tell us a little bit about growing up, not having those expensive high school gyms or rec centers to learn the game of basketball. Talk to us about growing up wanting to be a basketball player in New York City.
Growing up in New York, basketball is just huge, no matter what borough you're in. And I guess you could kind of say in my generation, everybody played outside a lot. Like we weren't the generation with more of the iPads and the TVs and stuff. we rather go outside until our parents tell us we got to come inside. It's so late. So, just going to the basketball courts and, getting, a lot of one-on-one actions and three-on-three actions and little small games, and just being able to apply that to, 5-on-5 when you have to play, a little bit more organized. So growing up, it just kind of, made us and shaped us into a player who can, do the one-on-one, do the three-on-three, and then even play in front of, big crowds, loud crowds outside in different tournaments. And so it didn't always have to be inside a gym to have fun and have a huge game in New York.
A lot of our players, of course, in different parts of the United States, and about half our team is from Texas, and so they do not know what a good street ball game is all about. And probably when you're playing at Rucker Park or some of the others, you probably don't wear knee pads. That would be sissy-like to wear knee pads when you're playing outside.
No knee pads.
But tell us about, there probably is a little bit of trash talking going on during the games as well.
Yeah, a lot of trash talking from fans too, coaches and different rivalries and stuff like that. And it just makes you tough. It just makes you a player that can be in that moment no matter what's going on. It just gives you that poise. So being in that moment, growing up in the parks, helps us now.
Tell us a little bit about St. John's, where you got your degree and now you're a grad student here, but tell us what it was like going to school within the city. I imagine you don't get on a yellow school bus and drive around to get there. Is it subway, taxi, or foot? How do you get around in New York?
Yeah, New York was great. Playing at St. John's was good because I was close to home. I was able to go home a lot, but it's mainly like trains or buses. I was fortunate enough to have a car, though, because I did that growing up and stuff. But, the city's so tight, so you can go different places. You don't even have to drive. And sometimes it's better not to drive with all that traffic. So.
Well, tell us a little bit your first name. How did you get it? I've butchered it. I cannot say it, so this is why we call her Q. But she answers to it. It's a little bit easier. But tell us a little bit about the history of your family and where all you've been.
Yeah, so my first name is Qadashah, and my parents used to be Israelites when they were younger, and so my name means holy. And then they went back to Christianity, but all of me and my brothers and sisters, we all have a name with a meaning, so it's a little different, but it's cute.
Who in your life has helped you more in learning the game of basketball? Who's been your mentors?
Off the top of my head, the number one person would probably be Walter Welsh. He was my AU coach from pretty much my second year AAU, which was kind of like in 7th or 8th grade. I went on his team, and he brought me all the way until my, I think, second to last year. And he kind of pretty much taught me everything that I, needed to be college ready. I may not have been like, with the stars and stuff like that, but one thing I was college ready, and that was because of him. And he taught me the important stuff. And he was the first one to, teach me how to bring the flashy New York stuff and how to control it a little bit and, make it so that you can play with 4 other people and just combine the two games, basically.
How did you end up in College Station, Texas?
Wow. So, thankfully, we were given this COVID year, and my previous season, it ended shortly because I had shoulder surgery. So I had only played 8 games. So it kind of wasn't the senior year that I expected it to be. And I wanted to start over. I wanted to be with some winners. I wanted to, just go all out for my last year. And, I went to the portal, and I was looking at different teams and stuff. And I just always remembered looking at A&M in the NCAA tournament last year, and just because I've known Jordan for a long time, so I was just watching her games and stuff and seeing all that they were doing, shocking the world and stuff, and I was just like thinking about stuff. And oddly, Coach Bond texted me. I never would have imagined that. And then I hit up Jordan, and then got Gary Blair here, got the Gary Blair man, and he got me here in Texas.
All right, last question. You're replacing one of the best players to ever play here, Leah Wilson. There was a two-way player, offense, defense. That's why she's in the league right now. How are you adding to this basketball team by being able to play both? And explain a little bit about what we had you doing last night guarding Burton, their best player.
Yeah, coming onto this team and seeing what Wilson provided to the team last year, she definitely was, a huge defensive player and also gave, to the team offensively. And so, me coming on the team, I'm kind of just giving the team what they need that night. Particularly the other night, we had a player, Burton, and she was the team's leading scorer, and we had to do a special defense where I had to smash, which means basically when that player gives up the ball, they can no longer get it anymore. And basically I had to make her night, a hard night for her, make everything that she got. She had to work hard for it. And by the end of the night, she had went, I think, like 4 for 14, and which was a pretty good night or whatever. And it was just a good feeling and a good task that I was able to, give to the game and show my mark in the game defensively, even if my shots were, hitting, and my other teammates were able to pick up the slack in those areas.
All right, last question. I said last question. What was your degree in at St. John, and what are you majoring in here at A&M?
I did business management at St. John's, and now I'm in entrepreneurship leadership here at A&M.
All right.
Do you have any entrepreneurial projects you're working on?
Not currently, but I do see myself doing maybe some apparel or stuff like that in the future.
What was that was his last question. I had one last question. What was your best memory from the trip this last week?
My best memory, I would definitely have to say, on the catamaran tour, we went snorkeling. It was great. We got to jump off the boat and stuff, and so it was just great to see everybody out there having fun, and it was just great. The whole thing was just great.
Excellent. Well, we're so excited to have you here at Texas A&M, and great season so far. Keep it up, and thanks for spending time with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's Q Hoppie, everybody. Rudy's Barbecue. This is the Gary Blair Radio Show from Learfield. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance wants to give you a VIP Aggie basketball fan experience this year. Go to 12thman.com/maroon contest and register. One winner and a guest will receive game tickets, hotel accommodations, autographed memorabilia, and more. Register today at 12thman.com/maroon contest. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Back with Coach Gary Blair, I'm Steve Miller. It is the Gary Blair Radio Show. We are at Rudy's Barbecue here on Harvey Road, and it's our first show of the season. The Aggies taking on Little Rock this Wednesday at 11 a.m. Hope everybody can come out to that or take your kids out of school, or maybe you just drop them off early. I'm sure there's a pickup drop-off line at the Reed Arena. They'll be happy to help you out there. But it is New Yorker night here on the big show, and our second New Yorker is the one and only Jordan Nixon, everybody. And Jordan, we start with a question from the audience. Elizabeth from College Station wants to know, have you ever seen a Broadway show?
Have I seen a Broadway show? Yes, I think in summer camp. No, my mom took me to see Cinderella.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, you should go more. I love going to the Broadway show.
I
That's
agree.
a bucket list that there's a lot of them that I want to go see again.
You buy the tickets. I'll meet you there.
I want to go see West Side Story again when it comes out again for the 5 million different time. Tell us about the Virgin Islands. Tell us about what you enjoyed, what your teammates enjoyed. Q mentioned the catamaran and some of the other things y'all were able to do on your own.
I mean, it's always a special time when you get to, go somewhere beautiful with your people of choice. Like, my teammates are my people of choice, and we always find a way to have fun. Our entire organization, just being present and being able to see some different things together, have some new experiences. Q mentioned the catamaran. I've been on a catamaran before, but there's nothing like doing it with your sisters, with people you feel super connected to. But yeah, the whole experience was busy. It was long, but I wouldn't have traded it for the world.
What's your take on snorkeling?
I'm not a big fan of the ocean in general, but so I was on the boat and then I was kind of hanging onto the little swing and I had a noodle with snorkeling. I mean, I think everyone had fun. They're getting a little workout in, is what I heard, but just having to tread water and enjoy that.
You didn't need to meet the fishes?
No, nothing like that. I was just watching. I was a spectator.
Well, tell us what it's like during the ball game that we had to make adjustments during all 3 ball games because the other team had good schemes or good play, or we got into foul trouble, or we had to sub a lot. What's it like during the game adjusting to what the other team is doing?
I think a lot of the story around last year's team was that we were a team of veterans, and I don't think this year's team gets enough credit for that very thing. And with that, making those adjustments becomes that much easier. It is a little chaotic at times just because things happen on the drop of a hat, and you have to adjust, you have to adapt. But I mean, I think we handle it well. Overall, yeah, I think that just speaks to the leadership on this team and just the willingness of all of us to, stick to the game plan.
6 for 6 from the 3, and folks, they were from downtown New York City. I mean, and the 2-point shot she hit right before the quarter or whatever, that was the hardest shot. Is a step back move from the left corner, and that was probably a 20-footer, but her foot was about this close to the line. How have you increased your range this year to the men's line that we're playing now?
I don't know. I didn't really think of it that way. Walter Welsh, someone that Q credited for teaching her the game of basketball, he always had this thing where he's like, forget the line. You know what I mean? If you work on these shots, that's not, if it's in your range, I mean, you work on expanding it, of course, but for me, I don't really pay attention to that. If it feels right, I think I'm comfortable enough on the court to gauge where I am, and it's going up.
Hey, and not to interrupt you, but Walter is watching on Facebook. We're doing the shows this year on Facebook Live, and he is been commenting and watching you guys here on the show tonight.
Oh, yeah, we actually just got off the phone. My mom and I were on the phone right before this.
We've got an Aggie War hymn, Spirit of Aggie Land. You've got New York, New York. Can you sing it all, and what does that mean to a New Yorker?
It's interesting. I'm a New York native, obviously, right? So something like that song isn't necessarily something that we sing. Because of how, I guess, different your experience can be in New York City. I think me being from Harlem, there's a certain level, like Harlem World, right? That's just, you feel pride or connection to your certain sector, if that makes sense. But I mean, I love being from New York City. I'm quick to tell anyone, no, I'm from the city, not Syracuse, not Westchester, anything like that. New York City, born and raised. So definitely some home pride there.
Junior year, senior year, graduate year, whatever, it doesn't matter. What can you give back to Texas A&M University besides basketball? You can be a voice in so many different ways and areas. What would you like to be known for in your legacy here?
Wow, that's huge. I think I want part of my legacy. I'd like people to think of me as someone who embodied what it means to be an Aggie. I'm a proud Aggie. I'm sporting my Aggie ring tonight, so I'm very happy about that. And that I want people to know that I gave everything on the court, everything I have as a person. I always try to be my best self, even when that's extremely hard, extremely difficult for me to do. But yeah, as far as, I just want to be remembered as a good person, right? Just good to people. People won't remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. So in in all of my endeavors and my encounters, I just try to leave people with a little bit of positivity or just light, I guess.
What you spend your off season focused on or off the court?
Experiences. I think for me, I mean, for a lot of us, right, to get to this level, it takes a tremendous amount of time and sacrifice, and that it kind of pigeonholes you a little bit. And I was just so Zoom focused on basketball and just being the best Jordan I could be on the court. And this summer, I don't think it was a mistake. I have no regrets, but I was invited to try out for Team USA for the Pan Am Games, and I actually declined the offer because it was really important to me that I, one, spend time with my teammates, because our team did change a lot, but also I had an internship this summer. I did some different things for this brand I created. I built a little bit of a network. I just tried to kind of expand my world. Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
Tell us about your new podcast you've got going.
Okay, I'm excited about it. Okay, so it's called Beneath the Surface, and the name is inspired by, I think a lot of media focuses on the tip of the iceberg, right? Those successful moments, the wow moments, the game winners, the things that people don't really forget, but they don't talk about the struggles, the strife, the distress, all of that, lies at the bottom of that iceberg. And for me, I feel like that's where the magic is. That's where all that is. So Beneath the Surface is me just trying to, tap into all of that with whoever I invite on the show. Because I think it's been increasingly important for me to talk about the things that I've experienced so that I can help people. And it's meant to really solve the problem of people feeling alone. How is it that we can be in a world of billions of people and we feel alone? Stories connect us. So.
Where do we find the podcast at?
The podcast, there's a certain, I don't know the name of it, but it's available on YouTube. And if you go on Aggie Women's Basketball page or my social media, you can access it that way.
How can you build off the Iowa State game last year? The two games against Arkansas that you scored with 0.4 seconds, both of those, to now a new team with 3 that went to the WNBA. Where do you see your role on this team? How good are we, you think? And which direction do you think we need to go on the court?
Mm-hmm. Me personally, last year seems so long ago. So much has happened in that time. So much happens in a day, in a practice, and I think we're obviously still trying to figure it out. And it's fairly early in the season, but as far as my role is concerned, just as Q said, I try to do what's needed in that game against Northwestern. I forced a lot of things in the Pitt game and against South Dakota, and I feel like it kind of jarred our energy and our flow, and it was really important to me that we get off to a good start and that I was composed and I made decisions and I was just again my best self for this team. So and I think the sky's the limit for us. We'll get out of it as much as we put in.
Last question. Mm-hmm. We've got 2 big rivalry games coming up, Arkansas Little Rock and Texas this week. Mm-hmm. How do you see, we played against them last year, won both games, but it's a different tournament now. Mm-hmm. 2 big ball games. What do we need to work on, and what did you enjoy about that rivalry that we had with Texas last year?
Yeah, I think something that I try to think about is we need to be the best team that we can be on any given night, no matter who we're playing. You talk about every game being the national championship game, and I think we buy into that. Little Rock, Texas, they're going to give us their best shot. They always do. So we need to be prepared. We're going to, tighten some things up this week, as we always do, and we're going to come out swinging.
Well. Okay. Let's go get some Rudy's barbecue.
Yeah, Jordan Nixon, everybody. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
We're live from Rudy's Barbecue. It's the Gary Blair Radio Show from Learfield. This copyrighted broadcast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield under the broadcasting rights granted by Texas A&M University. Reuse of the presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of Texas A&M University and Learfield. Announcers are provided by Learfield and Texas A&M University. We're back with Coach Gary Blair. It is the Gary Blair Radio Show. I'm Steve Miller, and Gary, it's a busy week. No rest for your weariness this time.
No, there's no rest whatsoever. This is what I enjoy. Game, practice, game, film, dealing with kids, one-on-one situations, recruiting, being with the fans, the media, the relationships that you get in coaching, and I love it. And while I'm talking about relationships, I would like to thank the Angels over here to my left over here. These young ladies are here at every ball game, and some of the times you see them all doing their homework over there, but they have a hand. They would love a sandwich every now and then. So feed them, Aggies, feed them. But I appreciate all the help that y'all have been there for us, and you're a great organization.
Elementary school day on Wednesday.
Favorite game of the year is elementary school day, when you can see most of them are 4th, 5th graders coming from about 30 different schools. And it's special to be able to see. So for all the older folks out there, they're going to give us the energy that we need to stand up and yell with them. It will be like a buzz in a soccer game that you hear those horns that they blow. They're going to be out there. Some of them never have been on Texas A&M's campus before, and that's going to be very special.
Do you need to take a call from Joe Foley here? I don't think we can quite get him on the air, but it is nice of you to take his call. But
Joe, hold on. We're on the radio show.
The Aggies will also take on not only Joe Foley this week, but also Vic Schaefer and Texas on Sunday. And one adult, you bring in 4 kids for free on Sunday to watch A&M in Texas.
That's going to be special. It's rivalry week for us. It's a great matchup. Coach Schaefer's got another good ball club again. I think they're 6-1 or something like that. You need to come to this game. There's no Cowboys. There's no Aggies football this weekend. And there's nothing but Texas A&M basketball. It starts tomorrow night with the men's game. We finish it up at 11 a.m. That's your homework assignment. You'll be at both the games Tuesday, Wednesday. And we're going to see you this weekend.
Texas beat Stanford at Stanford before losing at Tennessee. They have played a pretty tough schedule so far.
It starts with pressure, pressure, pressure. And they're going to guard you 94 feet for 40 minutes. And there will not be no zone defense. It will be man-to-man. You better be able to handle the ball. You better be able to meet your passes. You better be able to get into an offense.
Do teams struggle this time of year trying to replicate that sort of defense?
Yes, because of injuries, sometimes because of COVID. Takes players away. Shoot, the Cowboys coach is out for Thursday night game. The player that we played from Pittsburgh was out. There's so many things that are going on into this world, it changes. So this is another reason why I'm playing so many kids early in so many different lineups, because you never know what you're going to face in January, February, and March. And I'd love to see what April looked like.
Oh, that would be fun. What a way to finish this season. Well, Gary, we've got 1 down. We've got 11 more to go here this season. Looking forward to Wednesday against Little Rock and on Sunday against Texas. Appreciate it. Great trip, too. Thanks for taking us. That was fun.
It was great. And you see the type of speakers that we had. We've got more for y'all to meet and then on the next few shows.
All right. Our thanks to Jordan Nixon and Q Hoppie, also our engineer Kevin Minchow, and Tabor back at Jefferson City. For Coach Gary Blair, I'm Steve Miller. Have a great night. It's the Gary Blair Radio Show from Learfield.